When buying a new home, many search for somewhere to raise their family, settle down, and a place to call their own. But like many things on this earth, homes can hold on to energy of past events. Past events which aren't always rainbows and butterflies, but rather something much more scarier.
Hey there, Morbid Maniacs. It's time for another spooky video, a part of VLOGTOBER. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking all about the Fox Hollow Farm, located in Westfield, Indiana. The Fox Hollow Farm sits on the countryside and is home to 18 acres of land and woods. It sits beside the Meadow Lawn Park. The story begins with a man by the name of Herbert Baumeister. These events would take place during the late 80s or the early 90s. The man had purchased the Fox Hollow Farm and lived there with his wife and children. Herbert had a bizarre past. When he was young, he was described as enjoying playing with dead animals. He also had a very strange obsession with wondering what the taste of urine tasted like. At one point during school, the man would stick a dead crow inside of his teacher's desk, as well as urinating inside of it. When he got to high school, the man did not communicate with others very well, and he was very introverted, and most would describe him as a loner. He also did not date for this very reason. He would go on to enroll into the University of Indiana, but it would not go well there either. Many people would call this man strange and would want nothing to do with him, and he would soon drop out during his first semester. Soon after, in November of 1971, he would meet his wife, Julie Satire. Hopefully I'm saying her last name correctly. And they would go on to have 3 children together. Julie stated that her and her husband's relationship would grow to be very distant, and out of the whole 5 years that they were together, they only had sex a total of 6 times. 6 times in a 5-year marriage. She also had stated that she had never seen her husband naked. This I have questions about, because like, how do you do it with somebody if you've never seen them naked? Like, do they just do it when the lights are out? Like, how does that work? His behavior would soon catch the attention of his father, who would send him off for a mental health examination. He would then be diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia as well as antisocial personality disorder. In spite of the strange things that occurred in his past, Herb would eventually become the successful founder of Save-A-Lot thrift stores in 1988, making him a very wealthy man. Beginning in 1993, there were reports of a string of young men vanishing in the area. And in 1994, Baumeister's son was out playing in the family's wooded yard when he stumbled across something. The boy had discovered a complete, partially buried human skeleton. The man would claim that the skeleton belonged to his father and that he had stored it in their garage and buried it in the garden after he cleaned it out. Okay, but why would you have your dad's skeleton in the first place? Like, wouldn't it have already been buried? That makes no sense. Investigators with the Marion County Sheriff's Department and the Indianapolis Police Department began investigating the disappearances of gay men with similar age, height, and weight within the area. In 1992, they were contacted by a man named Tony Harris, claiming that a gay Patreon calling himself Brian Smart had likely killed a friend of his, Roger Goodlet. Tony would also go on to say that the man had a suspicious interest in Goodlet's missing persons case, and had also attempted to strangle him with a pool hose during an erotic asphyxiation session in his mansion after. He had met the man in a local gay bar known as the 501 Club. Tony would eventually see this man again in August of 1995, following his car and writing down his license plate number. Police later identified the man as Herbert Baumeister. Investigators approached Herbert and would tell him that he was the leading suspect in the missing persons cases. And they also asked for a search of the property. Both Herbert and his wife refused. And by 1996, Julie had grew to be very alarmed by her husband's erratic behavior. And after filing for divorce and custody of their children, she consented to a search. And while Baumeister was on vacation, the investigators searched the woods behind their home. They would find over 5,000 bones and bone fragments scattered throughout the woods. At least 11 men were killed, 8 of whom were identified. Many of these men were teenagers. Herbert seemed to be living a double life. During the day, he would stay home with his family and play father. And during the night, he would go out to these local gay bars and bring home young men. He would usually bring them home, take them to his pool area, which was filled with mannequins. How creepy is that? Where he would then murder them and then bury their remains within his backyard and within the woods on the Fox Hollow property. Herbert would also kill men on business trips, and he became known as the I-70 Strangler. When Herbert heard of the investigation which was going on his property, he fled to Canada, where he would then unalive himself a week later. He left behind a 3-page letter written on yellow paper, which stated that he regretted messing up the part, as well as him feeling badly about his broken marriage and failing business. He did not, however, mention the remains of his victims or admit to any crime. It was determined he killed at least 20 people on the Fox Hollow farm property, and bones are still found to this very day. Many people who see this home see it as a normal home which they could purchase, settle down, and raise a family. But they do not realize that this home was once owned by a deranged, psychotic serial killer. And several people who have lived there throughout the years following have claimed that the home is haunted. A man by the name of Robert Graves would soon move into the Fox Hollow farm with his wife. They were aware of the terrific things that had happened there, yet they did not think anything of it. It started out slowly, beginning with things moving around on their own, such as lamps, doors closing on their own, electronics malfunctioning, vacuum cleaners unplugging continuously by themselves, even though they were connected to an extension cord of good length. This would happen routinely, but soon they would be seeing full-on apparitions. One night, Rob's wife noticed the figure of a man in a red shirt with no legs floating outside their window near the woods. She claims this happened on 2 separate occasions. These figures would turn Graves into a believer. Joe LeBlanc, a man who rented an apartment on the property in the farm's in-law quarters, would also experience strange, unexplainable activities. LeBlanc would state that they had their door kicked in, would hear footsteps and knocking in the middle of the night. Deadbolted doors would whip open and items being moved overnight. LeBlanc also claimed to see the man in the red shirt, as well as other spirits. He described a portal in the bathroom where spirits would come and go. His wife would not go in certain areas of the home as they gave her an eerie feeling and would make the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. And on one occasion, LeBlanc was swimming alone when he was grabbed behind the neck by some unseen force, nearly drowning him. The paranormal incidents would catch the attention of a man by the name of Dan T. Hall, who wanted to investigate the area more. Hall would bring in a paranormal investigating team, psychics, crime scene investigators, a demonologist, EVP, and visual specialist who would all investigate the home, only for them to state the house was indeed haunted. Psychics would state that the souls could not move on as many of them were unidentified and hadn't had any closure. Investigators would also detect abnormalities in the pool. A psychic would later see a vision of energy, and John Hall would see a spirit pop into his peripheral vision. During the investigation, they would also witness a shadow figure which moved back and forth in the pump room. Everyone would feel extremely freaked out and uncomfortable within the pool room, many believing that Baumeister murdered his victims there. There was also a terrifying run-in with a malevolent entity in the basement. One of the men stated that he had knives in his kitchen sink when he heard a noise. When he went to investigate, that's when he would find the knives neatly lined up on the kitchen counter with marks in the cutting board. This was believed to be the spirit of Herbert Baumeister. There was also a documentary made on the property known as The Haunting of Fox Hollow Farm. The home has been the center of several TV series such as Ghost Adventures, Behind Mansion Walls on Investigation Discovery, and Sci-Fi's Paranormal Witness. It has also been featured on the History Channel, A&E, and True TV. Ghost hunters, filmmakers, and true crime fans alike visit the farm to this day to witness it for themselves. So this is the story of Herbert Baumeister and the Fox Hollow Farm. What do you guys think of this creepy legend? Would you guys ever visit there and like see if you experience anything? Because I believe that they open the house up to like tours and stuff now. I totally would, even though this really freaks me out because, you know, it was an actual serial killer, and that kind of thing I don't fuck around with, you guys. It was an actual serial killer, and that kind of thing I don't fuck around with, you guys. Because I've had so much bad stuff happen in my life because of some of the things I've summoned. But definitely let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've ever heard of this story before. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big ol' thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and become a morbid maniac. Also, be sure to hit that bell notification. That way you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And also be sure to head on over to my second channel, Mel Vlogs, where I will be posting all of my vlogs, all of my other random videos. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next one.